Welcome back to another edition, a special edition, I should say, of Velo News TV, as we're joined by the Danish national champion, Joachim Parbo. Joachim, first time ever at Interbike for you?
Yeah.
Good. So far, your experience, what do you think?
Oh, it's a crazy scene with all these people and all these impressions that you have to compute.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, it's also business. And while you're here, I know you've been hanging out over at Challenge. We've got some really cool new tires that you were racing on last night.
Yeah.
And so where else have you been? Have you been by to see the SRAM guys?
Yeah, I stopped by the SRAM, and there's a USGP presentation later today. And I went to see other people that I know and stuff to sort of work on issues.
So when we talk about cross racing here in America, I think you might give us a perspective that no one else really has, as you've raced at the highest level in Europe. As we mentioned, Joachim is the current Danish national champion, and you've seen the Boulder Cup. That was a race that took place last year in Colorado, and you were actually just at another very unique race up in Washington State, Star-Crossed and the Rad Racing GP.
Yeah.
Tell me, what were your impressions of last night's racing? Are we finally starting to get it right over here?
Well, it needs a little improvement, but of course, from the guy, the promoter, who is not living here in Vegas, putting stuff on here is logistically a problem, of course. So he definitely needs to work a little bit on the course and stuff. But
like in technically, what way? Well, how would you have changed that course last night?
I would say it needs a little bit more. More sections where you can actually recuperate from the hard efforts you do. In a sense, yeah. It felt like riding with a headwind and a flat tire for an hour. That's what I felt like, but I don't know about
Well, you know, it's interesting talking with Danny Summerhill, who was a silver medalist at the World Championships as an American junior last year. He said it felt like I was riding through wet cement. I thought that sounded pretty accurate.
Oh, it's fair. Yeah.
That is fair, isn't it?
But more run-ups maybe, sort of to break it up. More switchback turns. Maybe a sand pit.
Right.
50 meters, 50 yards of sand.
It's interesting. So what you're saying, though, and this is something that I think is really hard for the American cross fan to really get a handle on, because most of us don't have experience going to Europe and seeing how it's done at what really has to be considered the gold standard. And what you're saying is then a good cross race has some very hard sections and some other sections that are very much designed to recuperate, where you're just going to spin the legs out a little bit. And it's that going back and forth that makes a great course.
Yeah, but it's also UCI rules.
Right.
But it's not. It's something you can interpret on. So, of course, it's not something you could sort of measure out so strict.
Well, were you surprised by the depth of the American field, and was that the strongest field that you've seen over here?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, yeah, that was very, very good. And but it's the most insane spectator crowd I've ever seen. Like people from Interbike showing up there. Core of cycling fans. I mean,
compare and contrast that to a super prestige or I think a World Cup in Europe. That is the pinnacle of what cross racing is, and you're looking at 25 to 40,000 paying spectators.
Yeah.
But maybe compare us to a super prestige.
Well, no, still a super prestige. You would have like 10,000, 15,000 people, even so. So it's not the same. It's more like the type of people who show up.
That's a great point.
So what I would say is like, you can compare it to maybe a football crowd that goes to see a cross race in Belgium. That's what I see.
Sure.
And the people who come to see cross races here are people who are supportive of the lifestyle, who eat healthy food and train and...
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting when you look at a cross race in Belgium, there's a lot of people who haven't ridden a bike in years. You're talking about, you know, I appreciate your comments about our crowd, because I think you're right. But, you know, over in Europe, it's much more of what you would see in an American football game here, possibly. Just a regular mix of the public. A lot of cigarette smoking and all that kind of stuff. Whereas here, you didn't smell a cigarette in the crowd all night, or if you did, it would certainly alert you, or it would catch your attention, because it's so unique to have someone out there smoking. So you have a fan base that actually seems to appreciate what you're doing more. Isn't that right?
You could say that, yeah.
They maybe have done it themselves, or they at least know how hard it is.
Very much, yeah. But over in Belgium, it's more about being a hero. That's what they want to see. So it could basically be any other sport, but they're just into that.
Sure.
And then on top of everything, Belgian countryside is just terrible. It's so boring. And in winter it's gray, it's foggy, and cross is then a homage to the countryside. The flat, muddy grass countryside. So it's a homage to that, and people, in some sense, that just brings everything together in Belgium.
Right. So now as you look forward to your European campaign, I'm guessing the Danish National Championships are much later in the year, like the rest of the European countries?
Yeah, they're put the same time, like beginning of January. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas our American championships fall more in December. Do you think that should take a look at that?
I can't see why not.
Right.
Really. I can't see why not. There's nothing that should. Yeah.
Well, I think that having you over here, guys like yourself and Christian Houlet, having riders like that, really start to give us a little bit more credibility. And then what's going to happen is possibly the American scene will expand, because we're going to run out of weekends along the way, because you're starting to look at more and more races coming to another level. You see it the same way?
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think Americans just need to find confidence in their own scene, because the scene is actually, to me, something that is away from Europe, but in a way that you have qualities that are over and above what you actually see in Europe. So in my perspective, that's a base that you can build much more future on, that you can actually do on the European platform.
Sure. And I think it's very fair to say that when you and Christian make your way back to Europe and start talking with your comrades that you raced with in Europe, that your opinions about your experience here, the quality of the field, and the quality of the experience will weigh heavily. And do you think that we'll see two questions here, two parts to this? Will we end up with a World Cup in America in the next couple of years? Does that just come down to money? And do you think we'll get Sven Nys ever here at Interbike and get him out racing at Cross Vegas? Tough questions.
Well, World Cup, surely. You have the money, so you can have anything here. And Vegas is kind of the place for any entertainment there'd be on this planet. But
you're saying if we wanted to run a World Cup in Vegas, we'd have to work on that course a little bit?
Well, no problem. But what do you know? You do props on a stage in the theaters, so why don't you? It's pretty much the same.
Sure. So if you compare your experience coming over last year racing in America to this year, is there any change?
Yeah, the atmosphere has gone up like a level. Everybody's more excited. Everybody's more sort of into it. People have been planning for a longer time to come do cross races.
Saying you'll be back next year?
I think pretty much so. Yeah, I still have like 1.5 months to gather some experience here, but I can't see why not. I'm being taken so well care of, and people are so positive, and over and above Europe.
Well, and how does it work out for you as the Danish national champion? And that's something you're talking about, Belgians and their respective heroes. America is all about identifying who is the best. And when you wear that national champions jersey over here, does it help you with your sponsorship opportunities? Have you noticed that Americans seem to respond to that?
Yeah, in some way, surely. But I think just in general that I'm the European guy.
Sure.
And European cross guy.
That helps.
It's just in itself enough, pretty much. Yeah. But I think a lot of it is about marketing, and there are two ways to pursue it as a rider. You can either go marketing, or you can go racing faster.
Sure.
And I try to do both, actually. So.
And who are you working with? Who are your partners when you're racing in America? Or actually, I'm sure that those partners carry over between Europe and America. But particularly companies that are here at Interbike, whose stuff are you using? Who's helping you out?
Well, Mikke, Selkov, and Challenge is like the prime people that I work with over here. And but SRAM is just someone I represent all over. And now it's just they give me the stuff, and I just represent them over the year pretty much. But with SRAM and Challenge and Selkov, there's been a little bit extra.
Well, that's great. Well, you know what? It's been an honor having you over here. I wish you good luck for the next month and a half, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the Boulder Cup. As there's still some very big races leading up to the U.S. Grand Prix. And are you going to be doing the U.S. Grand Prix?
I will. So yes.
Great. And then you know what, I'm not going to allow you to race at our national championships because you're not an American.
Well, that's fair enough. I think I'll have a better chance at racing the Danish championships anyway.
Hey, you know what, I think you might. Well, you know what I wanted to add too is we had a chance to catch up last week in Seattle.
Yeah.
And there's a young man, Ian Terry. I think that is your legacy in this sport, is your ability to connect with young riders. And why don't you go ahead and get him? I mean, he's got a Danish mom. Get him a Danish license. Bring him over to Denmark for a month.
We have to work on him. The coach wants him to get the national championship in Denmark, so I think we'll try to work on that either this season or the next season. Next season he will be a second year junior, so he will be much stronger, and
you think
there should be he should stand a very good chance. The way they work up in Seattle Rad Racing is just
they're incredible.
Strong build up.
Yeah, they really are.
Scene, yeah.
Well, thanks for all you do for the sport, Joachim.
Thank you very much.